So we have to do trending reels, like trending audios, you know?
Yeah. That was such a good one for like specifically like that.
So
It
good.
just like kind of all came together.
And it wasn't hard to film or anything.
No.
We just need Becca to follow us around.
I can't keep a straight face.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome back to the party. It is episode 24-ish.
I have a problem with counting.
That's all good. All right. So before we dive into today's episode, we have a really awesome episode today. We're going to talk about chapter 2 meditation and the story behind the brand and our new business venture. You were just telling me a story about working from home that I think is so relatable. And I would love you to share the antics your 5-year-old son has been up to.
Oh my God.
As you're trying to run 2 businesses from home.
From home. What a gong show. So let me preface this by I've just spent the last 2 years migrating around my house because I have not had an office. Because my beautiful, lovely husband is also working at home. He works on like 45 screens. It's insane. So he has taken over the office. I'm more mobile. I end up on our bed most days. We move house. I finally have an office. I can visualize how beautiful it's going to be. It's this beautiful room in our house. Right now, there's just a folding table in it. So yesterday's my first day in this room. Like my husband's coming down and he's like, oh my God, you have your own space. Like everyone's so excited for me. I'm Instagramming about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be so productive, which I was. However, I had 3 client calls yesterday. 2 of them were when my 5-year-old son, decided he was going to whip open the door, march into the room, take my phone. Like I'm on the video, so I can't really have a reaction that he's taking my phone. Now, I don't actually need it, but it's like, what's happening? Why is he doing this? So he leaves the room, and then I think my mom saw him with it and said, take it back to her. She didn't know I was on Zoom. He comes back in and is like trying to come into the video to see who's on it. 'Cause 90% of the time I'm with you. So he says hi.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm like pushing him away. Like I'm holding him back. And then I put it on mute. I'm on with another client at this point. There is a head of design, head of recruitment from this global company. And luckily our colleague Crystal, their VP of operations, was also on. So I was able to mute and I just looked at him and I said, get out now. As I'm actively holding him back from getting in the screen. Well, that really triggered him. So he screams in my face and then marches out of the room. Not before he stands at the door and slams it repeatedly.
Oh,
like not once. He's just standing there going back and forth on the door.
So could our client hear all of this?
I had it on mute at that time. Okay. I'm not sure what the state of my face was like at that point. I was just trying to look at the camera. I'm still on mute. They can't hear this. What the fuck is what? I'm going to kill him.
So hilarious and relatable.
So that was day 1 in the new office. So the next step before I get a desk, before anything happens, is I'm putting a lock on the door.
It's a really smart idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Must
so we
have.
can keep some clients and stay in business.
So embarrassing. Just trying to be professional over here.
And this is working from home life. Everyone is experiencing this right now.
Yes, 100%. Both of them were in an office, by the way, who I was on Zoom with.
Oh, okay. In like a professional office.
Yeah.
Okay, great. They're not experiencing
Okay,
it.
Great. Yeah. Just perfect. Okay, chapter 2, my darling. I'm so excited to talk about this. You're not. I love this. This is not, I know, because this is very personal to you. This is an area of passion that you've had for how many years? Like probably 3 or 4 years?
It's been 5 years.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay. So We have 1111 Talent, our global recruitment agency, and this was off the ground. And I just want you to tell your story. How did this come to be? Because this actually wasn't meant to be a business at first, which is kind of how 1111 started too.
Yes, so true. Okay, so I got into meditation. Actually, I'll go a bit further back. Like I grew up watching my mom meditate. She had a daily
Yes.
meditation practice. She'd wake up, she'd meditate. She led meditation in our community and she kind of taught meditation as well. But mostly I kind of observed her. I had a front row seat to observe her, how this tool supported her in her life. And so, my mom is one of those people that's just a very calm, grounded, centered person. And so when, shit would hit the fan, our whole family, there's 6 of us, would like look at her to like see how she's responding. And she'd always be just so calm and be able to navigate the waters, right?
Yes.
And so I always that kind of stuck with me. But as a child, I was just so high energy and, kind of bouncing off the walls. So it was just not something that I ever thought about doing myself or was interested in exploring. Fast forward until my early 30s, so about 5 years ago, and I was going through what I would call for myself like a rock bottom moment. And I really needed something in my life where it could just help me navigate that chapter, right? And so I had 2 children at the time, and I was thinking, what am I going to do here? And my normal ways of coping when life became hard were traveling, drinking, partying. None of those were an option at that time. I had 2 little kids.
Totally.
I was like, I'm going to have to figure out a new way to cope and a new way to be. And so I kind of thought back to my mom, remembered that, and meditation kept popping up in my mind, like, oh, maybe I should try this. And so I started meditating every day. I would literally put the timer on my phone for 2 minutes and I would just sit there and breathe. And honestly, it was excruciating at the start. Like I'd never really stopped or paused or just let myself be with big emotions and feel into them. I was always kind of trying to be on the run or move on to the next thing or not feel it.
Yeah, of course.
And so then meditation is around, regulating your nervous system. Meditation is around being with what is. It helps you to be in the present moment, whether that present moment is hard or whether it's joyful. It helps you kind of ground in and anchor in. And so I slowly started extending the time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. And over time, within a month, I was doing this every single day. I was looking forward to it every day. And I was noticing it was having a really big impact on me and how I was able to move through the day, get through the day, how I was able to kind of show up for my family, for my kids, for my work. And I think we all have a lot of mental health challenges that come up through different ways, like whether they be through a big transition in your life. Maybe you're going through a separation or a divorce like I was. Maybe you lose a loved one and it absolutely shatters your life. Maybe you have a health diagnosis or somebody close to you does that was really, you didn't see it coming. Maybe you lose your job. And so these are all actually like normal life events. These happen to you, to people around you. Like this is part of the human experience. And so when I reference mental health, I don't think we've really been taught as a society, as individuals, like how do we deal when these things happen?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think people deal in a number of ways, right? Like some people are really good at like working with a professional or a therapist and talking through things. Some people, turn to exercise. Some people turn to drugs and alcohol or shopping or, other ways that we numb ourselves out. But meditation, I kind of had this feeling like in my life, like I'm going to have to like get through this the hard way. Like this isn't going to be an easy fix. I'm going to have to move through this. I'm going to have to feel all the emotions around it in order to move through it in order to like move forward in my life, you know? And so I end up getting really into meditation, and I'm noticing that this tool is not only just helping me like move through the day, keep showing up through the day, keep showing up to my kids and my work and my family, but it's also helping me surprisingly perform better. It's like I'm noticing I'm not as reactive. I have more patience. I'm really in touch with how I'm feeling. I'm able to say no more. I'm able to be really present with my kids when we're together. And I'm noticing that I'm better in the business. People are responding to me different. My leadership is stronger. My creativity is higher. And so I'm thinking, oh shit, there's something in this. Like, this isn't just for hard times.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people find meditation because you've hit a rock bottom moment or because you've had something hard happen in your life. And I started thinking, what if you found this at a good time in your life? Knowing that it can increase your performance, knowing that it can help you navigate your relationships better. So I then went on and decided to do my meditation teacher training and get certified. And I really had no intention of teaching meditation, but I really wanted to deepen my own practice. And I'm super curious about this idea of increased performance through meditation. So I did a 3-month course, 3 to 4 month course, where I did it with the Lab of Meditation. And they really focus on the science of meditation and a lot of the data and the research that is now available. So that really appealed to me. I think I'm really woo-woo by nature. And so I always want to like balance myself out by really getting rooted in the science and the data, because I find that so interesting. And I know that it will support me in business, right? And so, you know, one of these things I really came away with is that we all have this inner technology, our breath. It's free. It's with us all the time. And when we have mastery and regulation over this area, it allows us to pick up the pen and continue to keep writing the story that is our lives.
Yes.
And this time with like power, with intention, with grace. And I think meditation allowed me to do that. It kind of unlocked that for me. And so where do I go to from here?
How did it become a business?
How did it become a business? So then I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm one of these people that, like, if I go through something or if something great happens to me or if something bad happens to me, I feel really compelled to talk about it or share it because I don't want other people to feel alone. And I don't want people to have to learn things the hard way. Like I'm like, okay, so I did this for 11/11 and it went really well, but I really could have missed this step, or I really should have done this first. So I feel like, oh, I really want to share this so it's easier for other people. And then when things go wrong for me, I really don't want people to feel the way I felt, you know, like I want them to feel like they're not alone, that there are other people out there like them. And it was hard because this was really personal, but it was like I couldn't not do it, you know, like I felt so compelled to like share this part of my story. So I started sharing on Instagram about meditation and a little bit about my story. And then I would have people reach out to me and ask if I was teaching and if I would be open to coming into their workplace or their office or their retreat and lead meditation or teach meditation. And so I had these real natural opportunities come up, and I sometimes was like unsure about if I wanted to do this, but I just kept saying yes to the opportunities because something in me was like, this is such a beautiful way for you to contribute on a really meaningful level to other people. So I kept saying yes, and then kind of kept growing the business, pivoting with the name. It was named a few different things. And then I landed on chapter 2 about a year ago. And that was a real aha moment where it all kind of came together for me. And then I started getting hired by really bigger organizations. So KPMG had me in to lead a meditation workshop. DECM, the Abnormal Beauty Company, Sephora, Rose Restaurants, Sage Natural Wellness. So, now I've brought meditation to, 30 plus organizations, and this business is growing. So we've created some really great workshops and curriculum around it. There's a 4-week workshop, and then there's like a 1-hour lunch and learn. And there seems to be this opening in business where people are really interested in how can we support our people better? How can we get them to perform at a higher rate? How can we support them with burnout and stress and anxiety? Because every workplace is reporting heightened numbers of these things. And meditation seems to be this unlock. And so I teach meditation in a way where it's linked to performance, where it's really based in science and data. It's not like we're all holding crystals and singing Kumbaya, which
sometimes
it's really fun to do that. Yet to do that in a business.
Yeah.
However, I'm open
maybe
to
our
it.
business.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe you can update on like where we are now or how you came into the business.
Yeah, I'd love to. Do you want to, before I do that, you kind of led into it a little bit, but I just love, again, how you speak to it around why you chose chapter 2. What does that mean to you in relation to this business?
Yeah, I think it means like all of us are always writing the story that is our lives. I love this quote where it says, you have the ability to create your own life without limitations. And I think we often forget how much power we do have inside because things are always happening to us, but we do have the power to control how we respond and what comes next, right? So chapter 2 is around that moment in your life where you decide, I'm going to pick up the pen. I'm going to write the next chapter. I'm going to decide who the cast is, who my supporting actors are. I'm going to decide who I write out of this story. I'm going to decide where the plot twists lie. I'm going to really truly do it my way, where I think we also get stuck in cultural narratives of like, this is how you're supposed to do life. This is how it's supposed to go. And you can see people doing it around you. And when that doesn't happen for you, it's like this very moment where you're like, oh my God, am I behind? Am I off track? I'm actually not drawn to doing it that way. Am I wrong? And so chapter 2 is really reminding you that you have the ability to write your own story.
So good.
Right?
Yes. I love it. So I was recently brought into the business probably about 3 months ago. So you were kind of deep into developing chapter 2.
Yes.
And, I, like many people, was a follower and a fan. And it really resonated with me in so many ways. I think you're a beautiful writer and you really have a gift when it comes to teaching meditations. I've been fortunate enough to be able to practice with you and have you lead meditations for us and for our business. So obviously I'm a big fan and follower and practicer. And I think you were developing, you can speak to this more than I can, but you would just develop chapter 2 to a point where you were feeling like there was another level to go.
Yeah.
There was so much opportunity. And there's actually quite a bit of synergy, funnily enough, between our recruitment business and this meditation business that you're building, right?
So true.
We're both focused on a corporate environment. It's obviously dealing with people, elevating people and practices and performance. So there's kind of a synergy
totally
between the two businesses.
Yes.
And so you had reached a point where you were thinking, I want to take this to the next level. I would love to have somebody else on board.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to be that person or that person that came to your mind.
Yes. And I never saw it coming. I just woke up one day and I was like, together we can go further. And it wasn't like I was thinking I want to bring another person on board. I was
Right.
like, there was only one person that could come on board.
Yes.
And we work so well together with 1111.
Yeah.
And you have your own mindfulness practice, your own meditation practice. And I just thought, with 1111, it works so well because we both have different strengths, right?
Right.
And together that really works, right? I'm doing a lot of hand gestures. I'm like saying, exploding my hand. And so I thought, if I was going to bring anybody into C2, it would be you. I know we can work together really well.
Yes.
I love your skill set. And I also know that this is a area of genuine interest for you too.
Yes.
Like you've actually been on your own journey with meditation and mindfulness.
Yes.
So why don't you share, like, how did you discover meditation? What made it interesting to you?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I have been practicing yoga for a long time. I started practicing yoga when I was 16. I was still in high school. So crazy. And immediately loved it. Like I was never into sports or anything active. Surprise, surprise. So I always, in high school, all of my friends had something they were doing, right? Whether it was like dance, gymnastics, soccer, whatever. I rode horses. I had a horse for a long time. So I guess I did that, but I didn't have anything like active that I was doing. And then I went to a yoga studio and I was just like, this is for me, right? Like I felt such a connection to it. There's a physical component of it and a mental component of it. And so I was really drawn to both. So I think that was my entry point. But honestly, throughout my life, I've really, it's kind of come and gone into it at different points, which again, to your point, I feel like I would turn to it in times when I felt like I needed it. I needed something. I needed some kind of stability or support or something in my life. And then I think it kind of has come back around from you. And also just there's so much more data and science and research that has drawn me in. We follow a neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman, who has a podcast and has really interesting research and data around mindfulness and meditation. That has kind of like reignited my interest level in this practice and where it can go. So for the last few years, I've really made a point of making it part of my routine and like making an investment in it. And I had a real unlock with you around it because I think what prevented me from having this as a continual practice was I had this story in my mind that I had to dedicate, 20 to 30 minutes a day, had to be this perfect practice where I was like lighting candles, sitting on a pillow, had complete silence and didn't have a thought in my brain for 30 minutes. Like to me, that was that was how you practice meditation. And so you taught me that sure, that's one way you can practice, but taking 3 deep breaths while you're looking out the window is another form of meditation. Being present to yourself and what's going on in your surroundings when you're on your walk is another form of meditation. There are so many different ways that you can kind of be still and aware of yourself that was huge for me. That really unlocked me being able to incorporate it into my everyday. And then like you, my journey through life the last 5 years has had many ups and downs, personally, professionally. And I too have seen such incredible benefit from this practice. It's really, it's almost hard to describe what that is. Another thing, I've heard you talk about that I like just to put some kind of example around how it actually impacts my life or how I put this practice into play, is around the pause, which you talk about, right? So it's really kind of when you're feeling triggered or, like you want to have that reaction, someone said something to you and it's upset you or made you angry, like taking that breath in between responding. Hopefully it's more than one. I think is such a useful application in.
It's such a superpower.
It is a superpower. That's such a great way.
It's not even conscious. It's like once you've been meditating for a while, all of a sudden you'll feel yourself getting triggered by something that will trigger you. And then there's a pause that just exists now where you have this conscious thought that says, how am I going to respond? Am I going to do my old response where I lose my cool? Or am I going to just sleep on this tonight? Or am I going to go for a walk? Or am I going to just walk away from the situation? So the pause, all of a sudden we have an options now, where before we're just going into our habitual response and we're not conscious of it. And then we get the same results that we've always had. But now there's a pause and you can choose a different response. I don't always choose that new heightened response. People are still dicks out there. Just because you meditate, it doesn't mean people are all Zen-like and you're Zen-like.
Such a good point.
You're still a human. Everyone else is still human, but you have a choice. And that choice is very powerful.
Extremely, extremely. So, so to kind of bring it back to me stepping into this business, it felt really special and it felt really, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Not obvious, but there was just kind of like this synergy that it was like you, I hadn't thought a moment about it.
Right.
And then when it happened, I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course. And it was just such an honor, really.
Yes. And since you've come, this brand has had such momentum. I feel like we're booked out. Our workshops have gone through the roof. We're working on a product that we're so excited to bring to market early 2023. And we also have an app in the works.
Yeah, we've got big plans.
We have big plans. And I feel like this business, we feel like we can make such an impact on people's lives in a really healthy, meaningful way, address mental health, address a lot of concerns that are really prevalent in society. And it comes from such an authentic place of we've walked the walk, we've been there, and then we've created something beautiful out of that.
We're creating products that are going to support people's mental health, support them in their performance. Right?
Yes.
And the other really cool thing that we're kind of circling around and landing is really taking a keen focus in supporting women in business, right?
Yeah.
Like that's something that's been showing up for us a lot.
Yes.
In how we're creating content, who we're creating meditations for.
Right.
And who is drawn to this brand.
Yes.
Which has been really cool to see.
Very cool. Because that's definitely an area that we've been really focused on the recruitment side of the business.
I just need a sec to see where we're going.
Okay. I'm not doing that fucking 2-minute meditation.
I was just going to say.
You fucking lost the plot. I'm going to share I just saw that and I was like, oh my God.
Okay. No, this has been long enough, so we can just wrap it. What do you want to wrap it with?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay. And so on that note, check out Chapter 2 Meditation. You can find us on Instagram. It's Chapter 2 Meditation. We have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter where we share a lot of science, research, data, and meditations that can support you in your day-to-day life. Like this isn't go to an ashram and go off the planet type meditation.
I would like to do that, by the way.
Okay, we can work on that.
Okay.
This is like your day-to-day life. This means, you're working, you're a parent, you're in a relationship. Like this is real stuff.
You're a human being.
You're a human being. You're not a perfect person.
Yes.
None of us are. And all of our content is geared to inspire you and to meet you where you are today. and to introduce you to meditation and to kind of guide you through a journey around mindfulness. And so to wrap it up, if you're curious about meditation, I really recommend starting with just setting a timer for 2 minutes or listening to a guided meditation. Remember that, your mind is not meant to go blank. You're meant to have thoughts. And the idea is when you have a thought, just bring your attention back to your breath, and you are doing it right. There is no right or wrong. You're doing it right. Keep going, and you will see really great results.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening.
Toodles.
Toodles.
Your signature sign off.
It has been. It was very authentic. That was great, Lovey.